We're back for another episode of Rise and Guard. And today's a good topic because a lot of times where buyers and or the breeder have differences is contractual differences. Something was said, something was text, something was subjective, something was objective. Well, this time we're going to talk about what is necessary when purchasing a livestock, and that is the written contract, something tangible to take with you just in case. So I
Yep.
have again my guy Mark Tamayo of Nemesis Kennel. And Mark, how do you feel about, because I only have a stud contract, right? I
hmm
don't have a puppy contract. How do you feel about contracts, and what do you provide to the prospective buyer?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think it's very important to have some type of binding contract between a client and breeder, because if you don't, sometimes breeder will come back and put some blame on you for the irresponsibility of ownership that they have. So you want to make sure that you protect yourself in all ways. And by having a contract, a thorough contract that's actually looked over, and this is what we do to protect ourselves. We have Legal Shield. It's a it's a
Is it prepaid legal?
it's a legal shield that actually goes over for businesses within my Zen business, my LLC, and they actually look at all the contracts that are stipulated, that's written. They go through them, they make sure that they're thorough, there's no loopholes, and they make sure that all parties are basically protected, right?
Mhm.
And so what we have through our access portal through JotForm is whenever we have a potential client, we send them over a contract that has multiple questions on it, based on their lifestyle, based on their needs, based on what type of housing environment, all types of different questions. So we understand that this puppy is going to a good home. They do have the lifestyle, the time to put the structure, the discipline, and the nutrition and all that good stuff to ensure that their puppy is growing and thriving, right? Because again, we want to make sure that we're not held to blame for the inefficiencies that they're not providing and not holding up to for their puppy.
Question. I know with a lot of the breeder contracts that I've skimmed through, one of the major initial things that a buyer must do is take the puppy to the vet immediately for another health check. Is that something? Is it the first 48 hours or the first 72 hours? What is it?
It's a requirement. It's within 72 hours that we have. Sometimes I normally do puppy pickups within a Saturday or Sunday. So they still have enough time to do it by Wednesday, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they can schedule an appointment with their vet. Sometimes vets are busy, and as long as they get it within the first week, I'm okay with that.
So let's
But
say, let's say this the 80th hour, something happens and the pup is sick or ill, and they're coming to you for the bill, but your contract says 72 hour or 48 hours after picking up the pup, you must go to a vet for a puppy checkup. If they don't do that, do your contract automatically voids everything else?
well, it doesn't. The reason why is because we already give the first booster shots, right? The first two. We also in our contract, we also give the first two dewormers. Before any of our puppies go to any home, they are evaluated through our veterinarian. So our vet basically gives a clean bill of health before we home our dogs, right? Dogs are in your care now. And it says right here, once the puppy is in your care and has taken from our facility, it is your responsibility to ensure that the puppy stays healthy, right? And not overexposing them until the last booster shot, the rabies, and sometimes the bordetella. And that's basically all you need up until a year later for a regular checkup, whether you're going to get the Bordetella again, right? Because rabies is for 1 year after 12 weeks old, and then you don't have to. It's not required for another 3 years once you get it again. So again, it's not null and void. We normally give a health guarantee up for a year. So anything genetically that happens to the dog, then we're responsible. We'll provide another puppy for you, or we'll put you on the waiting list, but we'll never give monetary means back to you, right? But all you have to do is pay for the ears. But it does stipulate that in our contract that once you take the puppy from our facility and from us, after our vet thoroughly checks the dog out, it is your responsibility. So if anything happens with the dog, that's on you.
What about physical deformities that are not so obvious, like one testicle or something like that?
One testicle, I mean, that depends on what you're going to be doing with the dog. I mean, sometimes.
No, what I'm saying is if a dog, I know your contract says something about physical deformities, but if a dog doesn't have, if he's, because newer puppies, the testicles usually don't drop before they're 3 months of age.
That's correct.
Let's say they get a dog and that was never examined until he was 4 months and they realized only one testicle dropped. What kind of recourse do a buyer has if they bought one from you that has that issue?
Well, I've never been through that because we always check for hernias, for cleft palates, for certain things of any deformities on our puppy. And we most likely probably won't home that puppy with you just because of the risks that they may have. But if down the line they do have something genetically, again, we're responsible. We'll make sure that we get you in whole. You either bring the puppy back to us and, we'll rehome that puppy for free, and we'll give you a replacement puppy. But yeah, 2 testicles, I think if someone's going to be breeding, normally someone with just being a pet, because we do have different puppy packages that are just looking for a pet. I don't think that's a big necessity for a dog down the line as, as an how do I say, an unqualified Doberman, right?
How important is it for a buyer to have a written contract with you? A lot of people, I would say a lot of us Americans, especially men, we're visual.
Yeah.
We don't really want the contract. We just want the puppy because we're in awe with the puppy. But have you got any resistance from buyers who are all in to buy, and then when they realized they had to sign a contract with you, they backed out?
No, never. They actually promote the contract. They actually tell me that I'm so surprised that you do have a thorough contract that we can actually hold up to, because, there's some breeders that they do go to that they don't fully trust, and they don't have no protection over the puppy that they do get, right? So the one thing for us is building that trust. And a lot of times I have a 6 month to a year waiting list for our dogs, especially depending on the sire or dam that they're looking for, that they've seen previous puppies that we produced. So within that 6 month to a year on our waiting list, I'm building relationships with these clients. Sometimes they become real close friends because they can call me for anything. They can call me for, hey, Mark, I'm looking to do this. I'm looking to get a trainer. I'm looking to do raw versus kibble. What type of nutrition should I feed? What type of training should I feed? I mean, all these type of questions that they have. And we welcome the questions, because it's the ones that don't have questions that we're a little suspect on, right? Because we rather have and set you up for success and kind of pump you with all the knowledge ahead of time, because we're very proactive. I've always been proactive than to be reactive. So I'm a planner. Like I always say, you plan to fail, you fail to plan, right? That's always a saying that I always say. So we make sure that our clients are set up for success, and making sure that they have all the information and education that is provided to take on a responsibility of a European Doberman, because they are a lot, right? And so again, they welcome the contract that we have.
When in the puppy contract, if somebody wants a a dog that's a little bit hot and spicy. I'm talking about workable. And you
Yeah,
know this, listen, nothing's guaranteed with these dogs. I mean, ideally, I would like, I like all my dogs to have a high prey drive, but
yeah,
very calm in the house. But I say the dog doesn't turn out because you really can't guarantee what looking at them at 8, 9 weeks on what they're going to develop into.
yeah.
But if
You can
somebody
see
has
some signs, but
some,
you can't see the full signs until they fully get, a little more mature than, maybe 2 to 3 months.
when they complain, like you told me about a particular client, oh, the dog is not doing this, the dog is doing that, but he's not doing this. A lot of that is just bad imprinting and bad behavior that's been allowed.
100,
What
100.
what what how do you do to protect yourself against that? Because when you tell a person when they spend about $3,000 to $4,000 with you and you tell them the word no, how is how does that contract fare towards people who are being rejected on what they want in return?
Yes. So going back to, my original statement about building that trust and relationship with people, I learned their lifestyle, right? Especially with newer owners of Dobermans. I'm not going to provide them with a dog that is testing higher on my aptitude or my temperament testing, because we go by a Volhard. If you look it up on YouTube or you look it up on Google, a Volhard, Volhord. Are they confident? Are they the ones that are being a little more aggressive in the pack or in the litter? Are they a little resistant? What we do in our program is we desensitize them a lot to different sounds, environments, surfaces. So we see the ones that are being a little more skittish. So with newer owners, I always tell them, look, I have this dog that's a little more laid back, not as drivey, not as confident. You're probably going to be more well equipped to handle this particular dog because my other ones, they're just too crazy. And I don't want to set you up for that because I know it's going to be overwhelming for you. And again, we want you to make sure 100% to have a comfortable experience with Nemesis Kennels. And we're providing you first with the utmost healthiest puppy, but also a confident puppy that has all the characteristics, conformation, all these type of different things that a Doberman should have. So with my more experienced Doberman owners that had multiple Dobermans in the past, they know exactly what they want. Some owners and clients will come over with, man, a bag full of tricks, bro. One owner last year came with a bag of tricks. He dropped a pen. He grabbed them by the back. He lifted them up. He rolled them over. He did all these different type of, I said, man, you really know what you're looking for, huh? And he says, yes, I do. I have already had 2 working Dobermans and I know exactly what I want. So he got Simba, and that dog is crazy, bro. But he did all those little
He got
temperament.
Simba right now.
Excuse me?
He got Simba right now.
Yeah, he has Simba right now. He's 5 months old, and he's taking him to the beach, to the ocean. He's doing protection training on him. He's one of our higher end clients, a producer in TV, and he wants a protection dog that does all the things that is required to keep him protected.
Keep him protected. Mark, people want to know, man, when you're going to do that breeding with Titus and Reaper.
Yeah, so Reaper again, we missed her last cycle.
We're not doing that frozen shit no more.
Yeah, it was a little learning experience for us, I think. It was my first time. So you had to get the numbers. I mean, perfect. It's almost like breeding horses, right? And that's what the doctor over there at SoCal told me.
Shout out to SoCal and Riverside.
Yep. They're great at what they do. So anyway, we're going to do natural, and then we're going to do a TCI that we've been very successful at doing.
Who does your TCI?
Yeah, so we're going to do that. Her cycle should be coming in at probably, I always put them down on the calendar. So she should be coming up very soon. I would say in the next week or 2. So we should be getting dialed in with that. I'm very looking forward to it because
I am too, Mark.
Reaper is one of my females that has just that extra fire, bro. She has
and the size.
she never stops. Like, you know, I tell her, shut the hell up. And she's barking and holding. She's very smart, very high prey drive. She has very good conformation. Her body structure
I
is
noticed her conformation. I will say this: out of all the dogs that I had, Casanova had the best conformation. The top line was like this.
yeah.
The bottom line was like that. You know, it's the
Mm-hmm.
V shape, and like the back was completely straight. And
Yeah, she has
Reaper
a
is
nice
just like that.
chest. Yeah,
Yes.
she has a nice chest plate, her colors, her markings, all that stuff. Her drive, you know, when we took her to get evaluated with shout out to Socialized Decoys, Shane, and shout out to Kevin at Canine School. You know, we took her out to do some bite work, and they're like, Mark, this girl has it. I mean, we don't even have to build her up. We got to bring her down. You know, she's almost has like temperament of a Mally, just like all high strung, and you know, just wants to go and go and go and go. You know, so I can't wait to see the puppies that they produce, because again, for me,
My God, it's gonna be great.
I want to see the puppies that, because I've already been seeing Titus's puppies and they looking great. You know,
Oh
with
my
the
God. You
female.
know, I got one of them right here. I got
I
Gas,
know, dude. Gaston.
Gaston. Yeah.
So yeah, so looking forward to that litter. Again, you know, very excited to see. Again, for me as a breeder and keeping the preservation of the breed, we like to see what we produce out of these two dogs, right? I can never tell from the sire and dam. Just because you have two badass dogs, they can produce nasty ass puppies, bro. Sometimes they're not very high drivey. They don't get the characteristics sometimes from their parents sometimes.
Yeah.
So once I do have a litter, that will show me if I'm going to breed them again, right? And again, that's why I'm so excited with this, because just seeing what Titus has been producing and seeing what Reaper already has, man, I can't wait, bro. I want to see these puppies.
Titus, I'll be honest with you, man. You're gonna have some studs to pick from. I'm not gonna lie to you, because once Gaston becomes of age, what have you, he still, you know, he still ain't proven yet.
Yep.
But Titus he's cut different. And shout out to South Bay Malinois, Donnell Watson, over this, aka Sykes, and Caleb.
Yep.
They put some real foundation work in this boy, man. Like a lot of civil work. And he's on the decoy. Shout out to Al Benuelos. He's
Yep.
getting them dialed in for his IGP. Cisco's going for his IGP-1 in 10
Nice.
days. In 10 days. But yeah, man, I'm gonna listen. Guys like you keep me on my toes, man. You know, straight up. I want to say thanks for coming on, Mark, for another day, another episode.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. You know, it's always good to share knowledge, Gerald, and you know, bouncing off information from each other, because that just makes us better.
Yeah. Again, people, I always tell you at the end of every podcast, every mini series, every episode, stay resilient, but be responsible. Until next time.